Hello and good evening to all of you. Let's discuss the remaining current affairs of the previous 6 months given in the pratiyogita darpan. And today I would like to start my discussion with a term called altera. Altera. Any idea what actually this altera is? Altera. In some places double R is given, so you don't need to worry about it. You need to keep in mind the word altera. The most eye-catching announcement on the very first day of the COP28, which happened in UAE in the month of November, was altera. So what was this most eye-catching? Altera is a climate fund, and it is the biggest climate fund ever created by anybody. The objective of this altera to manage somehow 250 US billion dollar by the year 2030 globally. And UAE has initiated by pledging how much? 30 billion. As the COP28 was initiated or it was arranged in UAE. Now the question is where this fund will be utilized. Why are we creating the biggest climate fund ever imagined by anybody? And the objective is very simple, that right now India as well as rest of the countries, they are dependent mainly upon the fossil fuel. We are talking about the renewable energy. I'm not against it, but yet we are mainly dependent upon the fossil fuels or four-wheelers and two-wheelers. I'm not saying that electricity is not helping the people to go from one place to another, but what is the proportion of those electrically powered vehicles? And when you see what is the proportion of the vehicles those are being supported with petrol and diesel, you can very easily distinguish. So I want to make you understand that still we are dependent upon the fossil fuel, but this fossil fuel is not very good in protecting the climate. So what we need to do? We need to shift from the diesel and petrol or the fossil fuel, from fossil fuel to renewable energy. And we cannot directly jump from petrol to solar energy, or from diesel to wind energy, or from any other to any other renewable source of energy. It's like a person who has been drinking for last 20 years and suddenly you are asking him to quit the drinking or quit the smoking. It will be very difficult for him. So in the same way, what will be done through this 250 US billion dollar, which will be managed by the year 2030, this money will help the countries to shift from fossil fuel to the renewable, because we are in the transition zone. So what your money will be needed in order to manage this transition zone, that money will be utilized to tackle that problem. So if I could say in one line that this 250 US billion dollar climate fund, as we are and Rest of the countries are in the transition phase, but we want to completely quit this fossil fuel, and it cannot be done overnight. Therefore, we need a sort of help, and that help, you can understand, will be provided through this money, and a time will come when our transition phase will be ended and we will completely shift ourselves in the renewable sources of the energy. So this is the Altera, the most eye-catching announcement of the very first day of the COP28, which was held in UAE. Now let's discuss a very famous personality, as he is the former president of USA, Mr. Donald Trump. Why this man has come in the limelight? By the way, these kinds of people, they always remain in the limelight, but this time, and I think Donald Trump has come in the limelight for many times in a very controversial situation. And this time is also not the exception, because the Colorado Supreme Court of USA, Colorado Supreme Court of USA has disqualified Mr. Donald Trump from fighting the next presidential election. But the question is, why Colorado Supreme Court has taken such a serious step against Donald, or former president of USA, Mr. Donald Trump? What Donald Trump had done? So you need to know here that Colorado Supreme Court, it has disqualified to Mr. Donald Trump because in the year 2021, when this was the year, the last year of the Donald Trump, when he was the president, in the year 2021, what happened that some of the supporters of Mr. Donald Trump, they attacked in the capital city of USA, in Washington DC. And Colorado court is saying that the attack of the supporters of the Donald Trump was instigated by no one else but the Donald Trump himself. He was the person who instigated the people, or instigated his supporters to attack in the capital city in Washington DC, in USA. And the important development here, that the 14th constitutional amendment of US, where section 3rd, what is this 14th constitutional amendment and the section 3rd of this 14th constitutional amendment? This tells that any official or anyone who holds the government position inside USA, if that person instigates, and on basis of that instigation, if attack is happening in USA, or you can say, if anyone is being instigated against the state itself, then this section tells that the person who is responsible for the instigation of the people, that person will not be eligible enough to hold any official position in the future. So here Donald Trump has instigated. It means Donald Trump has violated this 14th constitutional amendment and section 3. So the Colorado Supreme Court used this section 3rd of the 14th constitutional amendment. And this is first time in the history of USA where any court has used this section 3rd of the 14th constitution, and through this Donald Trump has been disqualified from fighting the presidential election. So the important thing is here that the Colorado court, I don't think this 14th and section, because most of the time we don't remember the sections and the constitutional amendments of our own country, then how the examiner can expect we will be remembering the sections and the constitutional amendments of a different country. By the way, in UPSC mains syllabus, this thing has also been mentioned that parallelly we have to know the constitutions of the other countries, and the main countries like US, Britain, and all these. Now let's talk about the third development, and this third development is related to a temple, and perhaps this is the largest religious structure anywhere in the world. Any idea that which temple is that? The largest religious structure in the world?
Australia.
No. Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat has been declared as the eighth wonder of this world. Eighth wonder of this world. So, until Angkor Wat was declared, 7 wonders used to be there, and Taj Mahal from India is one among them. But the eighth wonder has also been declared, and that wonder is no one else but the Angkor Wat itself. Where the Angkor Wat is located?
Cambodia.
In Cambodia. And it was constructed by whom? It was constructed by Suryavarman II. Suryavarman II in the 12th century. This Angkor Wat temple, initially it used to be a Hindu temple devoted to whom?
Vishnu.
Yes, Lord Vishnu. But later on it was converted as into a Buddhist temple. So at present you can say it's a Buddhist dominated Hindu temple. So that's how this Angkor Wat has come in the limelight. Now let's discuss a country that is the only G7 country. Only G7 country which has left the most admirable project of China, that is Belt and Road Initiative. Belt and Road Initiative. Which one is that country which has left China's project called Belt and Road Initiative?
Italy.
Yes, Italy is the only G7 country which has left the project of China called Belt and Road Initiative. Official reasons are not known because they haven't been disclosed in the public sphere. Therefore, I am not going to give any kind of conjecture. This Belt and Road Initiative, what actually it is, it's an infrastructure program, and it will generate the infrastructure in those countries those used to be the part of historical Silk Route. So China is trying to generate the massive infrastructure which will support the economic development and in other fronts, and only those countries will be the part of this Belt and Road who used to be the part of China's historic Silk Route. But Italy has given a shock as it has left from this Belt and Road Initiative. How many G7 countries are there? I mean, 7.
US, Canada.
And the formula is very simple, the girlfriend Jews. Okay, I am writing it again.
Girlfriend का जूस.
Okay, girlfriend Jews. G for Germany, F for France, J for
Japan.
U for
USA.
and I for Italy, C for Canada.
European Union.
So through this formula, you can remember these 7 countries. Now let's discuss a scheme, and this time the scheme is Yasasvi. Yasasvi. What is this scheme? Yasasvi. Yasasvi is a scheme for the school going children who are in 9th, between, you can say, 9th to 12th students. For the 9th to 12th students, this SSV scheme is. But not every student who is between 9 to 12 or in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. The students who belong to OBC, the students who belong to EBC, and the students who come from D and T, denotified tribes. So OBC and EBC are known to us. What is this D and T? What is this D and T? So D and T, actually, when the Britishers used to be there, they had declared some of the tribes as a born criminals, and those tribes or those people have been categorized or have been placed within the Tribal Crimes Act 1871. But in a free country like India, how can you accept anybody as a born criminal? Because Britishers had their vested interest. That's why they did the way they found the system in their favor. But when our country got freedom, what happened, that act, the Criminal Tribes Act 1871, it was, you can say, removed, and the people who were placed, the tribal communities, those who were placed within that act, they were denotified, and they were placed in a normal situation, because any free country like India can never accept anybody as a born criminal. So these kinds of people are placed within the denotified tribes, and through this scheme, the students from these communities, they will be provided the scholarship so that they could get the best quality of education. By the way, again the criteria is means no how, and that's a different matter, but this is the important thing, that EBC, OBC and DNT students will be benefited from this SSV scheme. All right, so these were some of the current related. The last issue is related to the Pravasi Bharati Divas. When it is celebrated?
January
In the month of January,
9 to 11.
9th of January. Every year it is celebrated. Every year or every in every 2 years. Yeah, earlier it was being celebrated in an alternate manner, but now it is being celebrated every year. 9th of January. Why 9th of January? Because on this day, the most extraordinary man, Mr. Gandhi, returned to India from South Africa. He led the freedom struggle and changed the life of each and every individual in India. So, in order to remember that historic day, we are celebrating this 9th of January every year as a Pravasi Divas. By the way, we also consider the contribution of the people who are living outside from India, what kind of contribution they are giving. So we also want to acknowledge their contribution. So all those things are done when this Pravasi Divas is celebrated. The important thing is in which city this Pravasi Divas was held. In which city in India? Indore. Indore. And who was the chief guest? Who was the chief guest of this Pravasi Divas? Chief guest.
Santokhi Prasad.
No, Santokhi was not the chief guest. Santokhi was not the chief guest, let me tell you.
Trinidad.
Hmm? Chief guest was the president of a country called Guyana. But what is the name of that president? Muhammad Irfan Ali. Muhammad Irfan Ali. And the Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, he was not the chief guest, he was a special guest. He was a special guest. So, Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, as a special guest, participated in this Pravasi Divas, which was celebrated in Indore. And the chief guest, Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, is the president of which country?
Mauritius.
No, not Mauritius. Not Mauritius.
Trinidad Tobago.
Hmm?
Trinidad Tobago. Trinidad Tobago.
Suriname.
Suriname.
Suriname. Suriname. And if I ask what was the theme of this Pravasi Divas, the theme was reliable partners for India's progress in Amrit Kal. Reliable partners for India's progress in Amrit Kal. So, These are some of the things which you need to keep in mind. Rest of the things I will be discussing in my coming lectures. Thanks for watching the lecture.